The Cirrus SR Series G7 Australis Edition, 2025, represents not only a continuation of the renowned Cirrus legacy but also an ambitious leap into the future of general aviation, embodying innovation, luxury, safety, and technology in ways that make it a standout aircraft for both private owners and flight training institutions across the world. And when one speaks about the SR series in general, it is impossible not to highlight how Cirrus has consistently revolutionized the piston single-engine market over the past 2 decades, starting from the early SR-20 models that offered composite construction and glass cockpit avionics before these were standard, progressing through the SR-22, which became the world's best-selling general aviation aircraft due to its blend of speed, performance, and comfort, and now arriving at the G7 Australis Edition, which merges decades of refinement into a uniquely tailored aircraft designed especially with regional markets like Australia in mind, yet equally appealing to global pilots who seek reliability with style, because the Australis Edition has always been Cirrus's answer to delivering a culturally resonant, customer-driven configuration that acknowledges how pilots in different regions fly, what climates they operate in, and what kind of luxury they expect when investing in an aircraft of this caliber. And in 2025, with the 7th generation, Cirrus has perfected that balance by integrating the most advanced version of its Cirrus Perspective Plus Avionics Suite powered by Garmin, enhancing it with artificial intelligence-assisted flight planning tools, predictive engine health monitoring, and user-friendly interfaces that blend seamlessly with the iconic Cirrus aesthetic, ensuring that pilots not only feel in command but also supported by layers of safety and convenience that reduce workload, improve situational awareness, and create a flying experience that is intuitive even for those transitioning from earlier models or other manufacturers' aircraft. And one cannot ignore that the Australis Edition has always stood out for its cosmetic flourishes as well, such as bespoke paint schemes inspired by the vibrant colors of the Australian landscape, from outback reds and desert oranges to coastal blues and lush greens, each livery applied with Cirrus's meticulous attention to detail, complemented by interiors that harmonize fine leather, advanced climate control, and noise reduction technologies to create a cabin environment that feels more like a premium automobile than a piston aircraft. Something particularly noticeable in the G7 is Cirrus has further refined cabin ergonomics, seat comfort, and sound insulation so that long cross-country flights feel less fatiguing and more luxurious. And while aesthetics and comfort are essential, the technological backbone of the SR G7 Australis is where the true revolution shines, because this aircraft is equipped with updated versions of the Cirrus Airframe Parachute System CAPS, the feature that has saved hundreds of lives and remains exclusive to Cirrus in this category, now enhanced with next-generation deployment logic, lighter weight materials, and automated integration with the avionics system, so in the event of an emergency the pilot receives guided instructions, real-time wind and terrain analysis, and optimized parachute deployment scenarios, raising the safety bar even higher. And complementing CAPS is the comprehensive envelope protection system, including electronic stability protection, auto-level mode, emergency descent mode, and auto-throttle integration, making the G7 Australis Edition one of the safest general aviation aircraft ever certified, a claim Cirrus substantiates with years of accident data showing how these systems consistently prevent loss of control incidents, which have historically been the leading cause of fatal accidents in light aviation. And this focus on safety resonates strongly with new pilots, families, and training institutions, particularly in Australia where vast distances, variable weather, and challenging terrain make safety-enhanced aircraft not just desirable but essential. And with the G7's extended range capabilities, thanks to refinements in aerodynamics, lighter composite materials, and an efficient Continental IO550N engine tuned for better fuel economy and lower emissions, the Australis Edition enables pilots to comfortably undertake long flights between cities like Sydney and Perth or remote destinations in the Northern Territory without feeling stretched by endurance limitations. And while the range and performance figures are impressive, it is the everyday usability that makes the G7 a practical aircraft, because Cirrus has built-in smart maintenance diagnostics that send performance data directly to service centers, ensuring predictive maintenance reduces downtime and surprises, while the Avionics Suite continuously updates databases via 5G and satellite links, keeping navigation, weather, and terrain data fresh without requiring manual intervention, something that seems simple but makes a massive difference for pilots who want a seamless, modern experience. And this focus on convenience also extends to pilot training, as the G7 Australis Edition comes with integrated simulation compatibility, allowing owners and flight schools to link actual avionics data to desktop or full-motion simulators, giving students a continuity between the training environment and the real aircraft, thus improving skill transfer, confidence, and ultimately safety. And in addition to being a technological marvel, The G7 Australis is also an environmental step forward, as Cirrus has worked to optimize fuel burn, reduce drag, and introduce sustainable materials in non-structural components of the aircraft, aligning with the global push for greener aviation, something that resonates with Australian customers conscious of their vast but fragile natural environment. And even though piston aircraft cannot yet match the full sustainability of electric or hybrid platforms, Cirrus has positioned the G7 as a transitional step by building compatibility with future sustainable aviation fuels (SAF), ensuring owners are not left behind as regulatory and fuel markets shift. And speaking of regulations, the Australis edition is certified with the latest Australian Civil Aviation Safety Authority (CASAP) standards, as well as FAA and EASA approvals, making it seamlessly operable across continents, a benefit for international owners or flying clubs who wish to operate globally. And beyond compliance, Cirrus has invested heavily in pilot support ecosystems, offering Australis buyers exclusive access to training programs, concierge-style service networks, and digital tools that simplify flight planning, maintenance scheduling, and insurance management, effectively turning aircraft ownership into a streamlined lifestyle experience rather than a burden. And in 2025, as private aviation grows rapidly due to increased demand for personal mobility and safety-conscious travel in a post-pandemic world, the Cirrus SR Series G7 Australis edition sits at the perfect intersection of luxury, safety, technology, and reliability, offering business owners, entrepreneurs, flying families, and flight schools an aircraft that is aspirational yet practical, modern yet timeless, and above all an aircraft that continues Cirrus's mission of making aviation more accessible, safer, and more enjoyable for everyone, because when one steps into the cockpit of the G7 Australis, they are not merely stepping into an airplane, they are stepping into a carefully curated environment where every detail, from the sculpted yoke grips to the ambient LED cabin lighting to the touchscreen controlled avionics, reflects decades of innovation and a clear vision of the future of flight. And it is in this holistic integration of form, function, safety, and sophistication that the Cirrus SR Series G7 Australis edition truly establishes itself as a defining aircraft of 2025, one that honors its lineage while boldly redefining the possibilities of what a piston aircraft can be. The story of the Cirrus SR Series G7 Australis edition 2025 cannot be complete without reflecting on its deeper impact on the aviation ecosystem, because while much of the attention naturally goes to its sleek lines, cutting-edge avionics, and luxurious cabin appointments, what truly defines the G7 Australis is how it transforms the way pilots, passengers, and even non-aviators perceive general aviation in this era. Since general aviation has often been criticized for being slow to adopt modern technologies compared to commercial airliners or the automotive industry, but Cirrus has flipped this narrative by consistently introducing features that feel futuristic yet attainable. And with the Australis edition, Cirrus has embraced the reality that flying in Australia, and indeed in many parts of the world with similar landscapes, demands reliability, adaptability, and cultural relevance, because long stretches of unpopulated terrain, sudden weather changes, and isolated airports place unique demands on both pilot and machine, and Cirrus has responded not with a generic product but with an aircraft designed to meet those specific conditions. For example, the Australis edition integrates advanced weather radar and satellite-based communications that give pilots real-time insights into storms or dust fronts, and its enhanced ventilation and cooling systems are optimized for hot climates. A small detail perhaps, but one that reflects an intimate understanding of where and how this aircraft will be flown. And in addition to being a pilot's dream, the G7 Australis is also engineered for passengers who may be family members, business partners, or first-time flyers, because Cirrus recognizes that comfort is not a luxury but a necessity when trying to expand aviation's appeal. And so the noise levels in the G7 cabin are reduced further than any previous generation, while vibration dampening ensures that even those unaccustomed to small aircraft feel at ease. And this has a psychological effect too, because when non-pilots enjoy the flight, aviation becomes more inclusive, drawing more people into the culture of flying, which is essential for the industry's long-term growth. And when analyzing the broader market, the Australis edition strengthens Cirrus's dominance in the high-performance piston category by offering not just an airplane but an entire ownership experience, backed by training programs, service support, and lifestyle branding, because Cirrus is not merely selling wings and an engine, it is selling peace of mind, a sense of prestige, and the confidence that comes with owning the best. And this is why the Australis edition resonates so strongly in 2025, where buyers are increasingly seeking integrated solutions rather than standalone products, and even when one looks beyond the luxury and lifestyle dimensions, the G7 plays a significant role in advancing aviation training, as flight schools that adopt the Australis edition are able to expose students to the most advanced avionics environment available in piston aircraft, ensuring that their transition to turbine or jet platforms is smoother, and this creates a generation of pilots better equipped for modern cockpits, which benefits the industry as a whole. And in a country like Australia where pilot shortages have been a pressing issue, such training capability is invaluable. And on a technical level, the Australis edition also serves as a testbed for the future, because Cirrus is known to introduce technologies in the SR series before filtering them into its Vision jet line, meaning that the AI-driven avionics, sustainable fuel compatibility, and next-gen safety systems of the G7 may soon influence not just piston aircraft but also personal jets, creating a ripple effect across the industry. And when viewed through this lens, the Australis edition is not merely a regional variant but a statement of intent, demonstrating how Cirrus envisions the evolution of private flight over the next decade. And perhaps the most compelling aspect of the G7 Australis is how it symbolizes accessibility, because despite its luxury positioning, Cirrus has worked to ensure that ownership pathways are realistic through financing options, shared ownership models, and partnerships with flying clubs, meaning that the dream of flying such an advanced machine is no longer reserved for the ultra-wealthy but is within reach of dedicated enthusiasts and professionals. And this democratization of aviation technology is a hallmark of Cirrus's philosophy, as they believe safety and innovation should not be locked behind exclusivity but should be widespread, elevating standards for everyone. And in 2025, as global travel habits continue to evolve, the G7 Australis edition arrives as a perfect response to a world that values independence, safety, and efficiency, offering owners the ability to bypass congested airports, explore remote destinations, and build a lifestyle around personal freedom in the skies. And when future historians of aviation look back on this era, they will likely see the Cirrus SR Series G7 Australis edition not just as another incremental update but as a landmark aircraft that combined cultural sensitivity, technological ambition, and design brilliance into a single package, redefining what a piston aircraft could be and setting a benchmark that competitors will strive to match for years to come.